Welcome to Finding Your Worth From Within, the podcast where I'm going to be helping you up-level your life, find your true self, and ignite the best version of you. I'm your host, Sana, your go-to self-worth mentor, facilitating hundreds of women to unlock your self-belief, master your emotions, and take back control of negative thoughts. We're going to be covering everything self-worth for South Asian women, how to ditch your self-doubt, kick other people's judgment to the curb, and learn how to finally use your voice clearly and with confidence. With the practical tools and spiritual teachings that I give you in this podcast, don't be surprised when this magic begins to massively elevate your life. So whether you're going for a walk, driving home, or listening with a cup of coffee, let's get stuck in. Hello. I cannot wait to get stuck into today's episode because it's something that so many women struggle with. I cannot tell you the amount of clients I see that feel they hold their voice back, they aren't heard, and they are misunderstood or have to stay quiet. So today we're going to explore the notion in the South Asian culture that good girls don't talk back. A South Asian woman's voice and expression is one of the biggest things that are suppressed. But why? Why is this the case? The reason it is one of the biggest struggles and runs so deep is because the dimming of our voice is actually layered from so many different angles. We're not just dealing with the here and now and things that we've been through in life. We're dealing with so many things that our parents and ancestors have been through as well. So the idea of conforming as an immigrant for our parents was really strong. They didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to speak out and lose their job or be dismissed from society. So conforming was something that they just did learn and got on with. Now, let's go a bit further back. Generationally, our ancestors have always had the notion of being quiet and conforming as well. In India, through British Raj, they had to conform. Speaking out was seen as being unruly, and quite often, anybody that spoke out or spoke their mind was punished. Even in more recent times of 1984 in Punjab, generations above us were being suppressed and quietened. Now, this isn't actually that long ago, and this brings fear to our older generation that speaking out will bring harm to you. So the notion of being quiet, don't say anything, runs very much through the generational line of all South Asians. Now, those are the foundations that have been laid for us in our blood and in our ancestry, which, trust me, does affect us because it comes down through our DNA. So you've got this whole culture that's been created about not expressing yourself, not voicing yourself, and now layer that with being a girl. Oh my days. If I had £1 for every time someone told me that their mom or dad would say, good girls don't talk back, speaking out is bad, girls don't get involved or join the conversation. I just could go on with the amount of sayings and beliefs that have been created in clients that come to me from the same notion, from the same culture of girls don't speak out, right? These are the exact beliefs that live in your brain and then create your reality as an adult. I had a client who came to me and said, I cannot speak out. I just cannot. It's not even in a bad way. I just feel like I can't say anything when I want to share my opinion. She was like, even if I want something different to what my mother-in-law's cooking, I just won't say anything and I'll go along with it. Now, when we did the work and actually delved into her subconscious and what was going on and where this belief was created from, we uncovered a memory of her dad speaking very negatively about her auntie, that she speaks out and speaking out is bad. But again, as a child, she didn't have any context to that. She didn't know whether the auntie was shit stirring. She didn't know whether the auntie was what she was saying or in what context these conversations were happening. All she heard was speaking out is bad. And remember, this wasn't a conversation directly with her and her dad. It was something she was hearing and picking up in her surroundings. So it became her belief that speaking out is bad because she heard her dad speaking negatively of her auntie, that she has too much of an opinion, she speaks out all the time. But like I said, as a child, she had no context as to what was going on. It was just the belief that was created for her. Now, not only are you taught that you shouldn't speak up and these beliefs given to you in your mental body, but often you learn it by watching the behavior of parents and grandparents. How many of you have watched your mums stay silent during arguments, or seen that she was unfairly treated by your daddy ma, by your aunties, and she just put up and shut up? How many times have you seen people in your house just swallow what they feel? Or maybe you weren't given a space to share your feelings, but instead you received, "It doesn't matter, goini, don't worry about it," which in turn has created an adult now that perhaps keeps a lot to herself and maybe isn't sure how to express her emotions. One of my clients grew up navigating her dad's alcohol abuse, and as a child, her mum would usher her out the way or tell her to keep quiet, not to rock the boat, not to aggravate the situation. However, as an adult now, she found it really difficult to find a safe space to voice her emotions, and she found it difficult to find the words to actually communicate how she felt. And whilst the taught beliefs of good girls don't speak out will be living in your mind and belief system, the learned behaviours of watching those role models will be an aspect that lives in your body, because more than a thought, it will have created an emotion or even a tenseness in your body. When you remember that memory, there's going to be emotions attached to it, and you can feel the senses in your body. Now, these learned experiences don't all have to be doom and gloom. They can literally just be situations that you grew up with. For example, I was the third of 4 children, which meant that I didn't actually get to decide a lot for myself. Like, I was a number 3, so I got told what to do. I kind of got into line. And, being a mum now, fully understand you don't want 4 kids' opinions coming at you. So it's just easier to just get them to do as they're told. And I just was led by my sisters, by my older sisters, and it was easy. I didn't need to think. I didn't need to have an opinion. I just did as I was told. And this meant that I was quite passive. I didn't, like I said, have to make decisions. I didn't have to really think for myself. Everything was done for me. I was looked after. So as an adult, as I was growing up, I was quite passive. Obviously, it's very different now. Like, those beliefs have been changed for me, and I fully understand who I am, what I want, and know myself. But so you can see how many factors affect your voice. So just as a recap so far, you've got your ancestors' past traumas and conditioning of being suppressed back in India, and them carrying that belief of conforming is the best way. Just for a moment, step into your parents' shoes. You've moved to a brand new country. You're trying to do your best to raise your kids, earn money. You don't really want to speak out. You don't really want to rock the boat. You just want to put your head down and get on with things, right? You have your generational influences of good girls don't speak up. Good girls don't talk back. Now, this is huge because parents did it without even realizing. Not just parents, because as children of immigrants, we would have spent a lot of time with grandparents or extended family. So these good girls don't speak up could have come from grandparents as well. Number 3, learn behaviours from watching situations and experiences at home. And on top of that, you will have had your own experiences throughout life that help cement this seed of not speaking out. I remember being in year 6 class, it was spellings, and I put my hand up, thought I was really confident, and spelt out something, and it was wrong. And the whole class laughed at me. Now, for me to still have that memory means it meant something, right? But it cemented that belief of I shouldn't speak out because people are going to laugh, or I shouldn't speak out because it's not good. However, I'm here to tell you today that it's so safe for you to use your voice, that communication is key, and that just because you're using your voice, it doesn't mean you're not a good girl. The biggest disconnect and conflict you're going to find within yourself is that your logical brain is telling you, of course you can speak up, of course it's good to get your opinion across, but your subconscious programming is holding you back because it's running on the belief of good girls don't speak up, which is creating a huge inner conflict in you, because you've got to remember that belief of good girls don't speak up has been in you for how long, been in you for how many years. It's there in you, it's rooted in you over the last 20, 30, 40 years. So your logical brain of the surface level saying, yeah, of course you can speak out, it's not really going to win. And each time you go to, it will come out in misunderstanding, Trust me, because I know I used to be the person that just stood back and watched. I didn't actually know what I wanted to express, let alone find the words to communicate it, right? At the time, I just knew I was confused and didn't quite understand what I was feeling, let alone finding the words to explain that. And if I'm honest, I didn't realize how much I wasn't saying. I didn't realize how much of my emotions I was actually swallowing. And instead, it would show up in my physical body as throat infections, sore throats, tonsillitis. I remember sitting with a lump in my throat, and from the inside, I was screaming because I just wanted to be heard. But the reality was, on the outside, I was silent because I didn't think I'd be understood. Whereas now, I believe communication and expressing myself is actually one of my biggest strengths. I love using my voice. Imagine if I was still holding that limiting belief of good girls don't talk or speak up. Like, I wouldn't even be here on this podcast right now. So getting your message across with love and respect and compassion is the most important thing. I encourage all of my clients to learn the art of communication so that it can help elevate their relationships and that they can feel understood too. Once you know what you want to say, once you know how you want to say it, then I promise you, conversations get a lot easier. You feel understood, and there's so much power in being able to express yourself to your fullest. And I know right now you're like, and that's great, but how do I do that? So don't worry, because I'm not going to leave you hanging. If you are my client, these are the exact steps that we would go through so that I could help you find your voice too. So take a minute to save this podcast so you can keep coming back to these steps. But number one, first things first, we would dig into where this belief of not being able to voice yourself has come from, where it is living in your brain, because we're going to want to reframe that. There's going to be a memory, a reference, opinion, or situation that's created this belief for you about staying quiet, and we would find it and reframe it. Number two, once we've found the memory or where the belief was created, there will be emotions attached to this. So I would get you to release those emotions, grab a pen and paper, journal it out, and I'm talking snotty crying, releasing those emotions, writing it out exactly how you feel, what came up for you in that moment, why it came up for you, how it still has a hold on you. Because the more you express yourself on paper, the more you'll find that you're letting go of it and the lighter you feel. Number three, connect with your inner child. You know exactly how she feels and what she needs, because in that moment you were her. So go and show her some love, give her that big sister energy, and give her space to speak and make her feel safe. Number four, finally, I want you to scan your body. We would scan your body and feel into where you feel this heaviness, where this resistance is. Put a substance to it, put a color to it. Is it dense? Is it foggy? Is it gooey? This just allows you to become more familiar with your emotions in your body and how they feel, because you'll be able to compare it to other things as well. Once you know where it is in your body and you can recognize how you feel, you can remove these feeling and emotion, this energy, with somatic practices such as energy clearing or EFT tapping. There are so many tools and resources available for EFT tapping, and it just helps shift that feeling in your actual physical body. So here's today's takeaways. It's time to rewrite the narrative. Being a good girl doesn't mean silencing yourself or shrinking your voice to fit into someone else's version of you. It's about redefining what good means on your terms, being kind, compassionate, and respectful with your voice, whilst also understanding your firm truth. You have the power to unlearn the generational, cultural, and personal patterns that have kept you quiet for so long. Your voice is not only valid, it's necessary. So as you step into your day, remember this: you can be a good girl and still speak up, because your words and your feelings matter. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Finding Your Worth from Within. If today's message resonated with you, it would mean the world to me if you could follow, rate, and leave a review. Sharing the podcast with someone that you feel may benefit is the best way to help it grow and spread this important message. To stay connected between episodes, come hang out with me on Instagram @Mentoring. Can't wait to see you there.